where the drama starts. Lap 30, 8 laps to go. Sandobi hoping to take advantage of these lapped cars. Pilecki goes, dives onto the right side. Very aggressive here. This is lap 4. The two Viceroys. Bill Frazier ahead of Matt Pilecki. Frazier's off. Frazier hit the grass. You hit that tire wall, your day is done. Well, now it's lap 20. The Williams still trying to get around the Terrell team as he'll go around the left car and around those at the same time. At the same time, he's got the inside corner. Will he ride the curb? Yes, he will. He will get him on the inside. Vita Maria leading us all into Moss's corner. Look at the beauty as his right side will cook the grass. Oh, a 180, no, a 360. Oh. Who will yield going into this corner? It's really not meant for too wide as it will be Gernot. Gernot will yield. Lots of smoke picking up from that Williams car. He is pushing it to the absolute limit. 26 of 30 now. Only 4 laps to go. He's going to get the run coming out the final corner. He's going to pull up side by side with the leader. It's going to be a drag race to the finish. Who is going to get there first? It's going to be...
Last season, Oulton Park provided us with one of the most exciting finishes in the history of Lotus 79 Classic Team Championship as Gernot Frisch and Nuno Moreira fought for the win all the way to the checkered flag, where Frisch was crowned the victor. But that was last season. What does this season hold? Well, we're about to find out live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hello everyone, I'm Samuel Ryman, and with me in the booth is Joe Peak. Behind the scenes doing all of the button pushing is our director Amjad Yamin, and he's using camera sets provided by Dougie Beard. Joe, some drivers, including yourself I believe, aren't huge fans of this circuit. However, these Lotus 79 Classic Team Championship drivers are. They definitely say that this track suits this car, and after what we saw last season, it's safe to say that it can produce some exciting racing too.
Yeah, and while I don't personally like driving this circuit, I love seeing races here. These 12 corners are what I'd call error-inducing. You have to take your chances over the bumps and be really brave with the ground effects of this Formula One car will make it stick. There's very few heavy braking zones over its 2.5 miles, and honestly, the only corner where drivers will dip below third gear is Shell Oil. As you can imagine, that makes passing opportunities sparse. Add to that, it's an older circuit, so it's very narrow. It really bucks the modern philosophy for track design that leans towards lots of passing equals exciting. What it does create is tense scenarios in which, even if there's not a lot of passing, everyone's on the edge of their seat wondering who can be brave enough to get the overtake done. But really, talking about this place will not do it justice. To get an idea of how harrowing it is to be fast in the Lotus, let's hop on board the GSRC lap guide.
All right, we've got Juha Noralampi and the GSRC Lotus 79, so let's do a lap around Oulton Park. Old Hall Corner is deceptive, and you'll want to late apex it, or else you'll push wide on the exit. Coming off the corner, you can use a bit of the AstroTurf, but not a lot. Up to Ditton's, this little kink makes the entry to Cascades pretty blind. Knowing how to line up your car will be crucial for a great run through this left-hander. And honestly, a good launch from here will be pretty important to your lap time in general, since it's flat out from here to the Shell hairpin. There'll be no lifting around the frighteningly fast Island Bend. Heavy braking into the hairpin means you can expect to see a few pass attempts. But despite the banking, making moves around the outside rarely pans out. It's another long, fast run after this, so make sure you're confident getting on the gas. We're bypassing the Britain chicane in this layout, hopping up and over the crest where you can really tell how bumpy this track is. Let it drift off to the left and get ready for Knickerbrook. Fling it through here as fast as you dare, but don't clip that inside curb too hard. No time to rest because you're immediately climbing up through Clay Hill and then Water Tower. It'll take some bravery to get the car through Druids properly with its double apex and crested exit. When it goes wrong here, it goes wrong fast. After that, it's down to Lodge, where it's a surprisingly slow corner compared to the rest of the circuit. The track falls away coming off of it, so be careful with the power. From there, straight line Deer Leap, and if you kept it together, you've now finished a lap around Oulton Park.
I always feel like I'm missing out when I'm watching someone else race the Global SimRacing Channel Lotus 79 around the track. That's a car I raced in the Lionheart Retro Series this season, and I bring that up because we actually have a couple of Lionheart Retro Series drivers joining us here tonight. However, those aren't the drivers fighting for the championship. let's have a look at those names after 2 rounds. There you see one of those Line Hut Retro drivers there, Adam Block in the background. Matt Wood is currently our championship leader. He is also our defending champion. However, we are only 2 rounds into the season. So you see the left column there. These drivers are jumping up at spots, falling down spots based on whether they can attend a race or not, whether they have a good race. Currently, it's the Brits at the top with Matt Wood, the lead-in. George Lambert, Nicola Cotree is back there in 3rd place, and Gernot Frisch in 4th. But have a look, even though he's in 4th place, he's only 17 points back as he looks to take home the title. And Rob Oljanek rounding out that top 5 there. As we look to the team standings, I'm sure we're going to see more of the same right here. Positions jumping around in the early moments of the season. Obviously, you want to get off to a good start, but still very, very close between the top 4 with the Ligier, Lotus, Brabham and Ferrari all covered by 5 markers. Then you have a bit of a jump until you get back down to Wolf there in 5th in the standings. Joe?
And of course, in case anybody hasn't watched the Lotus 79 CTC before, well, today we're on round 3. Now, they do have drop weeks, as was mentioned, 4 for the driver, 2 for the team's championship. So because they have 2 drivers contributing, a little bit less leeway for the team. Race length today, we have actually 35 laps. It's not 31 laps. This is such a short lap time. They've got a lot of them to knock out here today. Now, the setups are open, and that means there is no scheduled stop for fuel or tires or anything. Drivers could yet still find damage on their car, and they can come in to get repairs. However, it puts you at a severe disadvantage. And Sam, one thing that I don't think many drivers are going to be able to rack up today is the incident points that comes with that damage often. 17 of them, and they get DQ'd, but if you can get 17 around here and the car is still running, I'll be amazed.
Yeah, definitely. There's plenty of grass around here, but unfortunately, as you see here, as Matt Wood goes down the straight, there's also a lot of walls not too far away from the grass. Matt Wood currently sitting 3rd on the timing sheets behind Adam Blocker, and now provisional pole sitter Gernot Frisch. Frisch with the number 1 car today, as you see. That means he has the highest high rating of a field. 35 drivers in this race. It did not split. We have everyone who signed up to race in this timed Lotus 79 official series event has made this field, and that means we could definitely see some interesting scenarios playing out today, especially given the fact, Joe, it's such a short lap around, lap traffic will be a factor.
Oh, absolutely. And this is not the track where you want a single split, because that also means a wide variety of pace on these cars and skill levels. So as we can see, Le Rousseau, Hugo apparently having trouble there with Old Hall. What happens is you come upon drivers that you're trying to lap, and I mentioned it's very narrow around here. That can make it all the more difficult to try and get by somebody who's off pace, and you got to be really wary and cautious approaching them, because their braking points might be a whole lot earlier, and their corner speed might be very different from yours. So the top runners will really have to approach anybody that they're coming up to with a bit of a circumspect approach.
And as we watch these drivers turn their last laps in qualifying, I'm also taking a look at the weather, because these numbers are concerning, Joe. Normally low temperatures means a lot of grip. Well, we certainly have low temperatures here today. However, it also means cold tyres at the start of a race and the risk of some drivers spinning off. But the even more concerning number is the one just to the right of the track temperature, and that is a wind, a very strong wind coming from the southwest today.
Yeah, obviously these are aero-dependent cars, so that's going to knock you around a little bit. You really don't want that with how on edge they need to be. And I'm glad you brought up the tires too, because the first couple laps, anybody who's watched this series is aware, but anybody who's new, basically these cars, the ground effects means it sucks them to the ground. So if they have if the tire pressures are low, that means it's going to bottom out a whole lot more, and that means you're more prone to spinning unexpectedly. So drivers really need to be careful in those early laps until the tire pressures get to where the drivers want them and expect them to be, so that the ride height of the car is a little bit more compliant.
And the track sounds very quiet right now with 30 seconds left of qualifying, and since we've got such a large grid, let's go ahead and show you the starting lineup now. It's Gurno Frisch and Adam Blocker starting on the front row. The defending champion Matt Wood will be lined up in 3rd position ahead of Adam Fraser. Tommy Mikel in Hola has had a good qualifying performance. He'll be starting from 5th position ahead of Alex Millwood. Nicola Cottri will be starting back in 7th ahead of John Stevens, and rounding out the top 10 we have Tanner McCullough and Pablo Suarez.
Daniel Banker will be P11 with that row completed by Stephen Warkup in 12th. Barry West starts 13th. Great qualifying by him. Daniel Gattuso P14. Then it's Paolo Albertin starting 15th, and that row completed by Charles-Eric Lemelin. Kendrick Taylor will be 17th at the start. Simon Schultz 18th, and then row 10 is started by Glenn Corrigan in 19th and Nick Mucanos in 20th. Sam?
Keith Herner will be starting from 21st position ahead of Mason Pascal, Fabio Guerrero and Francisco Gutierrez, the two FT initials there, starting on row number 12. Marco Sanfilippo will be starting from 25th ahead of Robert Plumley. LaRusso Hugo will be starting all the way down in 27th place ahead of Steve Salas, Adnan Derevic and Peter Dresik, rounding out the top 30.
Only one of these drivers got a lap time in, Dadaski Thomas in 31st. Then it's Francisco Gagne, Dale Henry, Peter Brennan, and Russell Hamilton rounding out the field without getting qualifying times in.
Now the cars are getting gridded. They've got a minute left to take to the track. And you see, with this being such a large field and such a small and twisty circuit, some of these drivers, a lot of these drivers in fact, having to start in a curve, and that could spell a bit of trouble for them further on back, especially as we mentioned, these cool conditions and strong winds. Don't exactly know what they're racing into when they head into turn 1. Now the nice thing is that the wind is constant. Even though it's strong and heavy, it's not fluctuating around too much at all, so hopefully the drivers have learned what they can get away with in practice and qualifying. Gurno Frisch and Adam Blocker, they know what their goal is though. Because here we go, the lights are off and away they go. Frisch and Blocker leading them away, and it's a nice start by Frisch. He'll lead into the first corner. Blocker has Wood to his outside temporarily, and there's, whoa, one car way off at the back.
Massive accident, multiple cars. Actually, I'm surprised more didn't get involved. So it just collected one at the back. About 5 different cars. Daniel Banker involved, Stephen Warkup, and Daryl Henry was the last one to run in there.
Some drivers having a very short race here at Oulton Park. Things shaping up nicely up front though, with our leaders getting single file. Gurno Frisch, Adam Block and Matt Wood trying to pull away from the drivers behind them, Fraser and Hola. And in fact, you have to go all the way back to 10th place before you get our first mover in the field, and that is Barry West. He has had a nice start, up 3 positions.
I wonder if he maybe caught a few of those positions from getting around that wreck. It literally was in the middle of the front of the mid-pack, so a lot of people were susceptible to running in. Great job by everybody for getting around this. But look at how quick these laps are, Sam. We're already almost done with the first one.
And it's only 35 laps, so it's going to go by in a hurry. About a 40 to 45 minute race we're looking at here today. And there was just a change for 4th place. But in comes Inhola. Tommy Inhola took 4th and then came in. I don't know if he had a jump start or something.
That would be my guess. I'll have to go and look into that. I'll get back to you, but there's really no reason. There's no damage on the car.
And there's been a change for 2nd. Matt Wood has snuck his way by into 2nd place ahead of Adam Blocker.
Oh, and I can report that Unhola did get a jump start. Just a little bit too quick, unfortunately.
And here we'll get a replay of a start. You might be able to say Unhola moving a bit early. He started on the 3rd row or so there, but then watch around 10th position. That's where things got ugly into the first corner.
Yeah, it looks like Suarez got run into the back. That put him in the grass and out of control. I'm trying to see who it was that got into him. But it was just unfortunate circumstances. Sometimes you don't know your braking point very well coming in, and that was Warkup who got him.
Walk up into the back of Suarez. Suarez, by the way, is the only driver to have retired from this race right now. So he's called it a day. Looks like the other drivers involved in the incident are going to try and get repairs.
As we watch that replay, I can report that Daniel Gattuso also had an off at Knickerbrook and found himself into the tires.
So currently we have Gurno Free, who's a champion from 2 seasons ago, leading this race. Already 2 seconds ahead of Matt Wood, our defending champion. Now one stat, I don't think we ever mentioned it last season, but Gurno Free never won a Lotus 79 Classic Team Championship race all last season. And that was very surprising to me when I went back and I found that out. But this season, he is back on top form. He won the season opener at Tsukuba, and now, right now, he's looking like he's on track to make it 2 for 3.
Yeah, and he's going to need that gap that he's built. We keep talking about the lap traffic, but it's almost going to be a bit like a multi-class race. You really want this buffer, Sam, so that in case you get held up inadvertently, you've got a little leeway before second place. And right now, that's Matt Wood. Only 2 seconds back. That could disappear quickly.
Now, Adam Block is currently running in 3rd place after starting 2nd. He's dropped back a bit from the top 2, and he's got a bit of a train of cars behind him. However, feeling the pressure more than him might be Adam Fraser, because Millwood is all over his rear wing. Nice little pack going from 3rd on back to 6th here. Nicola Cochi bringing up with a boost.
Yeah, and Fraser's got to be careful. I watched him go through Old Hall there. He took a lot of curb. You could see the car get a little bit out of sorts, and he lost a little time, but there really wasn't a good passing opportunity for Millward. He can't do that in too many places because this car snaps so fast that if you try to make that correction, it might not just be a position you lose, but your whole race will be done.
So a lot of these drivers in positions where they started, it looks like our big move of the field is Peter Dresik, and I say that something just happened to him, I think. He's actually dropped back a few positions this lap.
LaRusso Hugo as well. Was that, I think that might have been those two involved in the same thing. Yes, indeed. So it looks like Dresik went off at Island Bend.
Oh, and Hugo spun. Maybe he was distracted by him. But Dresik had started 30th and got up to 20th. He's now in 24th, so he's still up from where he started, but he's not the big move anymore. That award would go to Mason Pascal, who started 22nd, and he's running 15th. And I'm pretty sure this isn't a liveried car that was around in 1978, and he's in one of the old Mansell-looking Williamses. Right now, is Hugo having another moment there? We were just watching that scrap going on from 3rd to 6th place, but nothing happened there right now. Things getting really interesting in the back. We got another car off in the grass.
That's Russell Hamilton coming over Deer Leap, actually up to Deer Leap. Looks like as he was working his way out of Lodge, just gassed it a little bit too much. Now that's embarrassingly easy to do, Sam, in these cars. There's so much power, and slow corners do not like this car.
So we rejoin this scrap at the front of the field. All these drivers holding station for now.
This is what I was talking about, Sam. These it's a pressure cooker sort of situation with these drivers. You almost have to wait for an error from the driver ahead to really try and make a pass, because if you're close on pace, there's not really many heavy braking opportunities where you can try to slip one up the inside if you're close.
Had a 3rd retirement from the race. It looked like Danilo Sanfilippo has lost the internet connection. But as Adam Blocker continues to hold off these drivers, another driver who should be a part of this pack but isn't because he jumped the start is Tommy Unhola. After he served his penalty, he came out in the mid-20 positions. He's about half a minute back of a race leader. There he is, 25th right now. So he picked up another position this lap. He's got a long road ahead of him.
Yeah, he does. This is not the track where you want to be set at the back of the pack towards the start, because I keep harping on that difficulty in passing, but it just makes even more of a headache to deal with all race long. Looks like he's stalking Dresik right now, but isn't quite close enough. Could take a look here into Shell Oil, and he's going to have to wait for another one. Ooh, they are awful close to each other. But I don't know if I would try a pass into Nick or Brooke. They might just, though, Sam.
You can try and outscare them, perhaps.
And unfortunately, I think Unhola got into the back of Thomas there. I think he got severe damage on the front.
Things going from bad to worse for Unhola. Let's take a closer look at the front end now that he's backed off a little bit. He's coming up to pit entry, so if it's severe enough, he might come back in.
Ooh, yeah, and the car is not happy under braking. You can see it's on the right front of his front wing. That it looks like he's still faster than Jursic, though, so I think he's going to be able to get by. Nope, he's going to back out. But the ground effects do a lot of the downforce work, but the wings still do quite a bit, too, so he is not going to have a fun time.
Here's another driver who's having a fun time. He started 13th, he's up to 9th now. That is Barry West in the number 14 car. However, he's getting a lot of pressure from behind from Charles-Eric Lemelin.
Yeah, but he's holding his own for now. And I was on this series as a director for quite a while, so I'm pretty familiar with most of these drivers, and I'm impressed with how Barry West has improved since I last took a look at him. Running in the top 10 in this series is no mean feat.
Yeah, Barry West is, I mean, one reason he's gotten a lot better is he's consistently here every week. I know I think he missed a couple of races at the start of last season, but, you know, the fact he comes in and he talks to us following each race, he's able to break down his own race and take a look back at what he should have done, what he shouldn't have done. That always goes a long way.
Absolutely. You know, we always hear people talk about the best drivers are so supremely self-confident, and I think to a degree, yes, but to me, the best drivers are also self-critical, like you said, with Barry West. To be able to analyze and be honest with yourself that I could do this better, do that better, and then actually go in and practice that makes a great driver. I think Barry West is on his way to maybe getting some top fives eventually if he keeps this up.
Now, when they get to the top of a hill here, Joe, I've noticed these drivers have started to bring some grass out onto the racetrack where they've been clipping the edges of the circuit. With 35 cars around here, that's, you know, this track is definitely going to change, even though it is a short race.
Yeah, but I think the grip on these cars, they're so planted to the ground that a little bit of grass on the circuit won't affect them too much. It's probably more the dirt. If it gets kicked up and it doesn't get cleared away from the racing line, that's what you got to worry about. The grass is gonna have a minimal effect out here. And the other thing, really, too, is the temperature swings, which doesn't look like we're having wild ones today. It's still about 74 degrees out on the track, so I think they shouldn't have too much of a problem because it's a relatively short race.
However, lap traffic will start to play a factor in the coming moments. Daniel Banker, who qualified 11th, but unfortunately that means he was right where that big wreck broke out at the start of a race. He is running with a damaged front wing out there in 32nd place right now, and soon he will see Gernot Frisch behind him. Now, obviously, Frisch getting by Banker won't be too difficult, but when you go back to that battle for third, if they catch a pack of lap cars at the wrong time, that's where things could get a little dicey.
Yeah, very much so. And also, drivers making mistakes and returning to the track without checking their F3. I've seen that happen a couple times here as we take a look at this battle with Frazier. That can really play havoc if they're not paying attention well. Let's ride on Millward, see what he's got. Because Frazier we've already seen make mistakes. Now it's Millward going a little bit wide at Old Hall.
I want to go back about half a minute and get an onboard replay from Marco Sanfilippo, because he just made a heck of a move on Mason Pascal. Pascal got a little wide on the exit of Knickerbrook, and you wouldn't think there's enough room up that kink up the hill to make a move, but Sanfilippo found it.
Yeah, sometimes you can make that happen with the run that he gets here. You can watch it. Just make sure that you've got a little bit of a faster go. And also, it looks like Pascal had an off there that kind of facilitated it. You just got to be brave, and he was very brave. Nicely done by Marco.
See the opportunity, you got to take it, even if it means putting the wheels on the grass a little bit.
Oh, Adam Fraser had a big mistake just now. It's coming through Druids. He does a full 360 and he gets it going, but look at all the spots he lost.
Charles Leclerc would be impressed with that one.
This is exactly what I was talking about, where all these drivers in a line behind him just waiting for that mistake. And it's such a small mistake. His wheels barely went into the grass, Sam. And he did a great job of collecting it. But even still, you could see, and look at how many laps that it took them to try and wait for that to happen. Adam's got to do the same thing now if he wants to try and get those spots back. He's got to either wait for the mistake or really, really be on the charge and be aggressive to get those back. And that's not going to be easy.
Well, Adam Fraser was running quite close to the back of the other Adam Blocker, and now with him out of the picture, Adam Blocker's got a bit of breathing room over Alex Millwood. So what are we going to see here? Are we going to see Millwood run down Blocker and fight him for third, or is Blocker going to be able to do what we've seen him do in the Lionheart series so often, and that's pull away and be able to run his own quiet race?
I think that's a time will tell thing, but I'm really impressed with these two because in the Lionheart series, they run a fixed setup. So these guys haven't had to get as familiar with getting these cars set up. And look at them now coming up the traffic in the form of Hamilton, trying to get out of the way. So these guys are adapting well. Now, they might run the series, just not necessarily during the broadcast race. So we don't necessarily know that. But they're doing very well in what is, I would say, a much deeper talent pool to deal with.
Charles-Eric Lemelin is getting aggressive on Barry West for 9th position. And Barry West is able to hold on to it.
I'm curious to see what Charles is able to do with this. It's one thing to make an attempt to be aggressive, but it's another to try and pull it off. So he's had one go, and if you're smart, you're taking mental notes of what worked and what didn't, how the other driver reacted as well. So he's watching very closely. He goes way wide into shell oil, and now he's got an even better chance.
Let's see if he pulls out here and makes the pass on the Ligier. He's going to go the hard way, got forced into the grass almost. West, I mean, it's not that West to shut the door. The door was never open to begin with.
Yeah, that was a little scary. I think that was a smart thing done by Charles. Just get out of the power there. Even on the straightaway, you hit a bump wrong with your wheels barely in the grass like that, and you can actually spin out and actually take out both of you if you're side by side. So Charles, his self-preservation probably did him good. Ooh, Hamilton with another off. Not been having the best of days today. And it seems like most of the ones I've seen have been in Lodge.
Side by side between Tommy Unhola and Mason Pascal, and Pascal backs off and yields the position to Unhola. So Unhola has now broken it back into the top 20. He'll still want many more positions than that.
And the laps that he's running are around 115s, it looks like, when he's got track to himself. So that's not bad pace. I think a top 10 is possible if he can make those overtakes stick.
Got a nice little scrap going on from 12th back to 13th as well. Nicolas Mucanos, one of our bigger movers through the field, started 20th as up to 12. But he's got Paulo Alberton and Simon Schultz not too far behind him.
And it shouldn't be a surprise that we see Mucanos here racing in the Lotus 79. He runs over in the Camel Series as well in the Nissan. That's a very similar car, very downforce heavy, and also gets its downforce from ground effects. So the transition isn't too difficult. We've seen a lot of drivers transfer back and forth, and him running to 12th really pays credence to that. I'm sure he's grateful to not have GTO cars as well to have to deal with out here.
Currently working lap 14 of a 35-lap race, so still a long ways to go in this event. Gernot Fisch continues to set the pace up front with almost a 5-second lead over defending champion Matt Wood. They're definitely going to have an exciting championship battle throughout the season.
Oh, we might want to go back to Mukanos because he's under attack right now. Paulo Albertin is trying to look a long way around on Knickerbrook. Oh my goodness. And he keeps the car on, but look, this is going to cost him because Simon Schultz now has a chance to try and make a pass, but looks like that is going to fade away. Ooh. Man, Albertin is all out of sorts right now. I wonder if his tires got dirty going way offline through Knickerbrook there.
Certainly a possibility. Might want to try and clean him off here as they go down the front straight, but he can't do too much because Schultz is right there ready to take advantage. And it must be said as well that Albertin, I'm not saying he's racing out of his league or anything, but he's doing an impressive job here considering the fact he's racing the number 8 and the number 11 car when he has the 26th highest I rating in the field.
Yeah, both Paulo and the likes of Mukanos are punching above their weight as Albertin makes a big mistake, and I think he's done. Oh.
It looked like he gave up on trying to recover that, which is a shame. He probably could have continued a good race going there.
Let's right on board and see. Because, yeah, we've seen at least one other car be able to pull it together, but you are coming in really fast here. I think he maybe didn't brake as much as he could have. I guess if you're going to go out in style, Sam.
Yeah, either way, obviously that car's not coming back on track in a hurry. So we'll move everyone behind him up one position. In front of him, the battle for ninth continues on with Barry West, Lemelin, and well, I say it continues on. It's actually grown because Kendrick Taylor wasn't with these guys before, but he's now closed right in on them back in 11th.
You can expect to see this for most of the race, where trains will start to form and pressure will start to build up until somebody breaks, and then the train will split apart for a bit, and then you'll get another one when you've got a slow driver slightly out of position. In fact, we got a little bit of that forming very high up. You were asking about Adam Blocker and Alex Millward. Well, I think Millward actually has slightly better pace than Adam.
Yeah, I was keeping an eye on these guys too. As you mentioned, they were broken apart a little ways ago. I think I mistakenly said earlier that Millward was in the Lionheart Retro Series as well. I don't know where I pulled that from. I think I was getting him confused with Alex Saunders. Millward races in the Lotus 79 Classic Team Championship. Adam Blocker from the Lionheart Retro Series, where they have fixed setups, but he's very dominant in it. You talk about the pool here might be slightly stronger than Lionheart Retro. Well, remember the Retro Series is secondary series for Lionheart, where most of their focus is on the ovals. Here that the road course is bad, and Blocker is a specialty on road courses. Unfortunately for him, Millward is too. However, Millward is not going to be able to complete the pass yet.
When you're seeing the track rubber in quite a bit here, when they get offline at corners like Island and coming up at Knickerbrook, it's going to be supremely difficult to make it work around the outside. There's just not going to be enough grip out there. Millward is really applying the pressure, though. Not fast enough coming through Knickerbrook. Now, there is a little bit of wake that you get from these cars. The ground effects is not a cure-all. So as close as he was, I think that maybe could have hurt him coming through that right-hander, and he's going to have to regroup and get back on him.
They go by Tamas there. Tamas just had an off course, so he was trying to recover himself. Unfortunately, the leaders were able to pass him without too much drama.
Yeah, it's starting to get a lot thicker here that they're working through the traffic. Even though we've had a few cars drop out, there's still 30 of them out on the circuit, Sam. That is a lot in a 2.5-mile course.
That's one car for every 10th of a mile.
Yeah, see, exactly. Sounds like we got some action happening down in 18th, though. This is Plumley and Corrigan having a nice little battle farther down.
Yeah, Plumley recently got it from Corrigan. I still miss the old orange and yellow paint scheme on Corrigan's car. It made them so easy to spot.
Well, I'm sure right now Plumley would not like him any more easy to spot in his mirrors, because despite being passed, Corrigan hasn't dropped back. He's still within half a second. And we've seen little mistakes really open up the door, and everybody's eager to pounce.
You see at the top of your screen there, Gurno Frisch just reset the fastest lap of the race. These cars definitely handle better on lighter fuel loads. In a battle for for third rather, still quite tight. Millwood creeping ever closer to Adam Blocker.
I'm really convinced at this point it's going to come down to a mistake from Blocker or lap traffic just not being at the right place or time. Right now they've got Adnan Dizdarevic up ahead of them. He could be a thorn in the side here. Is he going to pull over? Is he going to let him through? He's trying to. Stays to the outside. Nicely done. Good communication between the drivers. Just held off to the side.
Another battle we might see in the future is for 5th place, when Nicola Cochi, Adam Fraser's slightly faster than him. Not much to make inroads in the near future, but we've still got a long ways to go.
Yeah, and remember, we saw Fraser make that mistake coming up here into Druids before, so it's no surprise that he's a little bit faster than Cochi. But from what I know of Cochi, he's a fierce competitor. That Italian blood really makes it hard for him to give up any positions if possible. So if Fraser gets to the back of him, especially with how few laps we have left, he's going to have a really hard fight on his hands to get in the top 5.
And we keep mentioning the lap traffic. They're having battles of their own, remember. As a matter of fact, Peter Jurczyk just got by Francois Gagne for 25th place, and that battle was going on right ahead of Tanner McCullough. We should actually give Tanner a shout out. He's had a very quiet race up there in the top 10. Don't think we've really mentioned him. Just running his own race in 8th position right now.
Yeah, and he started this one in 9th, so nothing gained, nothing lost. But like you said, a quiet and solid race for him so far. Sometimes it's best not to have the cameras on you.
Unhola, meanwhile, has been making more progress through the field. Remember, we saw him down as low as 25th, while he's now back up to 15th. I've got to imagine top 10 would be a satisfying goal for him. I don't know if it's obtainable, but that's got to be what he's thinking in his head.
Right now he's working on Keith Herner. 10th is actually, no, I think 10th is doable. That's right now Charles Lemelin, who is not too far up the road. Ooh,
here goes Unhola down the inside. And Herner's going to yield the position to him. You definitely don't want to go side by side there.
Yeah, he facilitated that one. A lot of times that comes in handy being familiar with who is fast in a series, because if Herner hadn't known that Unhola is a quick driver, he could have tried to fight him. But sometimes you just got to give it the ghost. Watch this. He doesn't block him off, doesn't cover off the inside, and once he saw Unhola had a nose in, he just kind of let him through at the corner.
We're over halfway through this race now, but still some good battles going on throughout the entire field. We've been watching battles for 3rd, we've been watching battles for 18th. There's a battle for 12th right now between Nicola Mukanos and Simon Schultz, not too far away from each other. There haven't been any battles for the top 2 positions, so Frisch has been leading Wood pretty much since about lap 2 or 3, when Wood found his way by Blocker up into that 2nd position.
And you have to admit that it was a good thing that Wood did that. He probably would have been pressuring Blocker even more than what we've seen he's been dealing with. He's certainly made good once he's got that clear air. Hasn't put the pressure on Frisch, but really he's been able to focus on his own race. And a track like this, that's what you want to do. Is just not have to worry about battling anybody else. Just be able to run what you've run.
And Fraser has caught Cochi for 5th position. He was right on his rear wing. And now he is trying to dance around, try and find the clean air. So he gets a good run out of a corner here. He's going to pull up alongside Cochi. He's not going to give him a whole lot of room, though. He's going to cut him off there. There was almost contact between them. Coachy remains in 5th.
Oh, he's got another run, though. He does have a nose inside into Knickerbrook, but he doesn't have the brakes for it. And fair game to Coachy. You know, unless the spotter says the car is to the inside, I mean, he can cover him off.
See, there's a lot of grass heading into that right-hander they just went through. Now, I started to see the lap car ahead of him, Hugo. His rear end was stepping out as he went over that, so those drivers are going to have to be a bit careful on that dirty part of tarmac in the closing laps of this race. Coachley and Fraser just crossed the line to complete lap 22. They've got 13 laps to go, about 15 minutes of racing left for them.
And this comes back to what I said about being familiar with the drivers around you. I'm sure Fraser has raced Coachy many times. He knows what he races like. That's why you see him kind of back out of it after they came out of Shell Oil and he got chopped off. He knew not to mess around with Coachy. And let's see what he's got this time. It will definitely educate his approach. Maybe he'll try and go the long way around in this corner because you can. Yeah, you see he goes to the outside, but now he's going to duck back into the draft. He's going to try and get a slipstream, but straight is just not quite long enough.
Stuck his nose to the inside, but knew that wasn't going to happen. Too far back there. Now I feel that as they come up to the top of a hill here, they can kind of take different lines through this turn. Sometimes I have a feeling that grass on the track might be upsetting that, though. There might only be one way through the corner at this point in time. But obviously turn 1's a good passing opportunity if you're able to get a good run out of a final turn. However, Coachley does a bit of a better job than Fraser there. Now there's only 12 laps left to go.
Turn 1 Old Hall here, it's a lot more rapid than you'd think. I'd be impressed if he's able to make the pass into there. I certainly wouldn't be confident unless I was fully alongside someone to try and make an overtake. If anything, I would probably try to surprise him into Shell Oil here, just because if you're close enough, as long as you can tell which side Coachy is going to go to, you can have a good go at him. Oh, we got a car smoking.
Blocker.
Oh, no!
It's Adam Blocker. He was in 3rd. Something's gone wrong, and he's now... Well, you can see it for yourself.
He downshifted too early. It was into Shell Oil. We're going to watch it one more time. I feel very, very confident that this is what happened. You'll see the puff of smoke right as he gets to the turn in at Shell Oil here. And you know, this isn't one that we talk about as often, Sam. When we talk about mistakes, we usually mention drivers who have to worry about putting a wheel off, getting offline, getting on the power too soon. But your downshifts, you got to hit your downshifts at the right time. You can blow the engine here in iRacing, as Blocker has relearned that lesson in the hard way.
Yeah, normally you don't mention mistakes and block in the same sentence, although keep harping on his success in Lionheart. I know he won a lot of equipment at the end of the seasons for his 2 championships there. I almost wonder if he's received that yet and been experimenting with it.
Yeah, that could be.
That seems a very odd mistake for him to make. So this battle for 5th is now a battle for 4th.
Yeah, even more pressure on. Stakes are higher now. Coachy hasn't given it up yet. Fraser's just been eyeing him. He's got about 10 more laps, so he's got some time to do a little scoping things out and seeing where he's stronger, where he can get some opportunities. And that is a double-edged sword, though, as they come up to traffic. This is Banker. Nice job pulling out of the way. Because while he is scoping out Coachy, Coachy's also probably watching Fraser to see where he's strong. And Coachy is a smart driver as well, but he makes a big mistake, and I can't believe that Fraser doesn't get by him on that.
I don't think Fraser got a great run out of a corner as well. Now, Fraser wasn't skating across the racetrack, but he definitely didn't seem to be on the gas as much as he should have been.
Oof, close moment there. But as I was saying, Coachy is going to go defensive where he knows that Fraser is strong. And this is an easy track to go defensive and try and cover off people and hold them at bay. So both drivers are basically at war here, poking and prodding, and both defending and attacking where they think it's needed most.
Battle for 5th continues on, not missing anything up front, with Prix having a 6-second lead, although he's lost a bit of that because he's been trying to get around the battle for 16th place that's been going on between Plumley, Guerrero and Corrigan. Fortunately for him, those drivers have been letting him by one at a time. So this battle for 5th remains the hottest battle, at least up front right now.
Yeah, I was looking through to see if I could find any others. Mukanis and Schultz were vaguely close, but Schultz has backed off of that. They got to worry, though, because guess who's coming up behind him? None other than Tommy Unhola on his charge.
Kochi is really feeling the pressure now. He was putting wheels off out of the first corner. I think Frazier is starting to get to him a little bit here. Frazier is definitely thinking about trying to make a pass. Nothing happening there. We've seen him before try and get a good run out of the hairpin, but the problem is when he does that, Kochi just goes defensive down the main straight here.
Yeah, and the difficult part is what you saw there, that coming through Island Bend, the wake of the car ahead makes it hard to stick close. It's possible, but very, very hard. I think you're right. I think Kochi's a little bit rattled. He's maybe driving the mirrors a bit too much here. I've been watching the top of the screen throughout this race, Sam. I tell you what, Frisch is he is schooling everybody. He's been setting fastest lap after fastest lap. He is unstoppable.
He's unstoppable as far as the drivers are concerned. Now, what about our team championship? Ferrari are having a nice performance right now. We've been talking about Frazier in 5th place. Well, just one position behind him is his teammate John Stevens, running a quiet race out there in 6th place. Scuderia Ferrari are about to have a good points haul if these two drivers can keep us up.
And that's something that we don't talk about enough, I think, is that team's championship is incredibly important to drivers, as well as I think Frazier had to go into Island Bend. Sorry to get excited there. Or not Island Bend, Shell Oil. He actually looked to the inside this time and tried to outbrake him, but he wasn't quite close enough. I think we're starting to see Frazier go more on the attack now.
Well, I know it's technically still 2018, GSRC's final broadcast of 2018, as Frazier getting aggressive as they go up the hill. They come into droids. And once again, he'll succumb a little bit to the aero weight there. I say, I hope this Scuderia Ferrari team doesn't have the 2018 team tactics of Scuderia Ferrari. I think what they had back in the 1970s was working slightly better for them.
Well, and my thought, too, is, it's not too late for the best battle of 2018. I'd love to see Frazier get in there, get some side-by-side action. He's just been struggling to really get the car side-by-side with Kochi. Ooh, and what was that accident? That's Thomas and, well, I've lost them. Sarles. Oh, that was started by Thomas losing the car up into Cascades, and he spun around at a spot where Sarles just didn't expect it, and well, that looked spectacular, but wasn't fun. Well,
you said it earlier. If you're going to go out in fashion. We may have just had one of the bigger crashes of 2018.
That's for sure.
Although I was involved in the one at the finish line in the Lionheart Racing IndyCar Series at the Motegi Oval.
Let's go to 4th because I think Frazier's got a good run. Ooh. Sorry to cut you off. That was the closest I've seen him yet.
I'll just say one more thing about the accident award. Steve Sarlis just commented on the driver chat. Epic.
At least he's got a good sense of humor about it. Boy, I thought for sure that as desperate as Frazier is starting to get, I thought that he was going to make that one stick. He was less than a car length back. But if I were Kochi, I would be getting pretty nervous now because Frazier's starting to figure out where he can try to get these runs, just like right here. That was a great exit.
Oh, and 11th through 13th just got a bit dicey. Nicholas Mukanos and Tommy Unhola but the battle for 4th is dicey now. Everything's brewing.
Oof, tried it around the outside again and again. The rubber being laid down on the inside of that corner makes it a one-lane corner. Frazier just cannot do it around the outside. He's going to have to dupe him somehow to try and get to the inside of the Italian as we look at Mukanos now.
Yeah, Mukanos was in 12th and Unhola was in 13th. They both squeezed on by Simon Schultz down the front straight. Now they're going by a lap car. Unhola, we mentioned he might be thinking about top 10. Well, it's not too far out of reach from that right now. He's in 12th. He's looking for 11th on Mukanos. There's a bit of contact going up a hill. And into 11th goes Unhola.
Elbows out, but it worked. These cars, Lotus was kind of known for making fragile cars, but for some reason in iRacing, you can be a little rough with them at times. Well, let's watch from on board the fin. Maybe not contact. Still a good job.
Scary moment for Keith Herner right now. He just had Francisco Gutierrez spin in front of him. But fortunately they avoided contact, but I'm sure it got their heart rates up.
Car off track, that was San Filippo actually. Meanwhile, as we come back to 4th here, there was another go from Frazier, but once again he was on the outside of Knickerbrook.
And they're coming to 4 laps left to go when they cross the line in 2 corners time. So Frazier, I mean, normally this is the point of a race where you say, okay, he's got to stop just riding behind him. He's got to be aggressive, try and make a part stick. Well, the problem is he's been trying to do that for the last 10 laps.
Yeah, I was going to say he is trying to do that. He's not sitting around. This is exactly what Frazier needs to be doing. He hasn't been able to make it work. Another bit of a lot of curb for Kochi there coming through Old Hall, but he doesn't suffer too much from it. I mean, I really can't fault either of them. They're doing what they've got to do. It's just the circumstances has not worked out in the favor of Frazier yet.
But as these two have been battling and Frazier sticks his nose on the inside again, it's allowing Frazier's teammate John Stevens to run them both down.
Well, Frazier's got to hope that it's more Ferrari-esque and that there's some sort of team orders now, because he might lose a position instead of gaining one.
Trying to think if there's a way, as Fish sets another purple lap, if there's a way that these two can work together to put Kochi behind them both, but at first they have to get alongside him and Frazier can't even do that.
Well, there could be. If Frazier could do something where he puts Kochi offline and time it right, Stevens could get a run and carry the momentum better to get past Kochi, but that'd be really hard to coordinate. I'd be amazed if they get that to work.
I don't know what shake and bake is in Italian, but these drivers are going to have to figure it out soon, because we have entered the closing 3 laps of a race here at Oulton Park, and Kochi is still where he's been for the last several laps in front of it, and he gets into the back of Henry!
This is going to give an opportunity to Frazier. He knows it. He's going to try to go the long way around. Can he find the grip? He's close still, but the braking in his shell oil is not going to offer the chance. And now that there's damage on Kochi, though, he's going to be slow in the corners.
Henry was on the mic trying to tell them where to pass him. I don't know if Kochi, if it wasn't soon enough, or if Kochi had his headset muted, as is he having connection issues as well? That might make things easier. But whatever the reason, they collided. But Kochi still in 4th place, but still with a lot of pressure from the 2 red cars behind.
This is what Frazier needed. If he could find a good run off the corner like here, but another defense from Kochi, Frazier is going to be so much faster with a better downforce through every corner.
2 laps left to go as they cross the line. Half a minute behind our race lead there. Prix only has another 1.5 laps left to navigate, but he has no pressure. Kochi has a lot of it. Here goes Frazier to the outside. Boy, Kochi is getting aggressive here defensively.
And you can physically see how much better through the corners. Now he's got the inside. This is it. I think Frazier can get it done here.
Oh, Kochi goes off in the grass. Is he going to run into the same fate we saw with the lap car earlier? There's a wall there, but no, he recovers. But he's back in 6th. Ferraris are 4th and 5th.
Watch from on board. Yeah, this was all she wrote. As soon as Kochi was to the outside, his only hope was to be able to hold it. But you can see there's a lot of marbles, there's a lot of dirt out there. There was just no hope for him to try and defend coming here into Shell Oil. And Sam, patience is a virtue. How long did that take Fraser? But he made it work.
He did, and Kochi did not want to give up a spot at all, and when it finally fell away from him, he lost them both. Fortunately, he was able to keep his car out of a wall and will come home with a 6th place finish. That's not what he wanted. Prix wanted a win. He's done everything to try and get it today. He started on pole, he set faster slap, he set faster slap, he set faster slap, he set faster slap, and now he is coming to take the checkered flag and the victory. A lap car of Simon Schultz in 13th place, quite far up the road, so hopefully that 13th position doesn't get a bit of bad luck in the final corner. And Prix will come through the final turn and do something for the 2nd time this season that he wasn't able to do at all last season, and that is winning the Lotus 79 Classic Team Championship here today at Oulton Park.
Wood's going to follow him home, and I should point out, with not too big of a gap, only 5 seconds between them, the bigger gap really is back to Millward. And you were mentioning Schultz. That was actually critical that Schultz did not get lapped there, because it allowed Mukanos to make the pass just as they were coming in line. Mukanos now up to 12th.
So keeping an eye on the 2 Ferraris here in 4th and 5th place. I'm sure Enzo would be pleased to see his 2 Scarlet cars crossing the line, not too far away from each other. Maybe not 1st and 2nd, but still a good points day for that team.
You know, we predicted a top 10 for Unhola. I think he's trying to go one better, but he's going to have to overtake Barry West, a stalwart here, and he's only got 1 corner to do it, Sam.
He's going to go deep on the brakes on the outside, but West does a good job at holding his own on the inside. They make contact there. West thought he was clear. He wasn't. Fortunately, it's not going to change the order. West was destined to get 9th on the exit there, and Hola was destined to get 10th. They'll just probably have 4X.
I think that's fair racing. Unhola was only barely up alongside him. Yeah, he didn't quite have the racing line there. He could have been given a little bit more room, but Barry West has found a fierce competitor inside him. Color me impressed.
Yeah, contact between them. The good news, obviously, they both kept their cars straight, and even Kendrick Taylor in 11th place couldn't do anything, even though he was right behind them coming to the line there. Finished just a 10th of a second back of Inhola for 10th and 11th. Well, that is going to wrap up our racing action, but not our broadcast. We have a full race rundown coming up, as well as drive interviews here on GSRC. Don't go away. Welcome back to Oulton Park, where we just witnessed 35 laps of racing action between 35 drivers in the Lotus 79 Classic Team Championship, and for the second time this season it was Gernot Prix coming home the victor ahead of a defending season champion Matt Wood. Alex Millward had a nice race there, started 6th, slowly worked his way all the way up into that third podium spot ahead of Adam Fraser. John Stevens also moved the right direction from 8th to 5th ahead of Nicola Cochi, who fell to 6th place behind the 2 Ferrari drivers. Tanner McCullough had a quiet race and brought it home in 7th position ahead of Charles-Eric Lemelin. What a fantastic race for him. We've seen him have good performances in the past, but then fall to the wayside before the checkered flag flew. Not today. He was able to bring it home in 8th place ahead of Barry West and Unhola, who were banning wheels to the line.
Kendrick Taylor finished in 11th, as you mentioned, but how about Nick Mukanos, apparently a better racer than a qualifier, started 20th, finished 12th. Simon Schultz with a 13th today, with Keith Herner as well, making quite a climb, but the first car a lap down from 21st to 14th. Marco Sanfilippo gets 15th, with Robert Plumley in 16th, and it's Fabio Guerrero in 17th, and Glenn Corrigan P18. Masson Pascal finishes in 19th. The top 20 is rounded out by LaRosso Hugo.
Adnan Dedzderevic finishes in 21st position, 2 laps down ahead of some drivers who spent some time in the grass today. Peter Dresik, Francois Gagne, Peter Brennan down there in 24th place, although granted he's actually up 10 positions from where he started. It's a nice race for him. Francisco Gutierrez finishes in 25th ahead of Darrell Henry, who unfortunately made things exciting the wrong way there towards the end in 26th. Daniel Banker, Steve Salis, Nidaski Tomas, and Adam Blocker round out the top 30 after Blocker's engine failure.
31st is Paolo Alberton. These are all pretty much DNFs. Russell Hamilton, 32nd. Stephen Warkup, 33rd. Daniel Gattuso, 34th. And Pablo Suarez was our first to leave today. Didn't even complete a lap. Sam?
Alright, well, we got some drivers here to talk to, including our race winner, Gernot Prix. Congratulations on another victory.
Hi, Sam. Thanks a lot. It was a good race for me.
Now, unless I'm mistaken, I was going back and looking at the stats. I don't think you actually won a Lotus 79 Classic Team Championship race last season. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but here this season, you've already won 2 out of the 3 of them. Has there been something that's allowed you to make that turnaround?
Not really. Basically, I'm doing the same as every season, so yeah, maybe, yeah. I have a little bit more luck this time, and also some of the usual suspects are missing. So guys like you, he beat me in the race before this broadcasted race. So yeah, it was a little bit easier, but even not that easy because Matt was also really quick around here. So it was basically my pace, but yeah, my qualifying run was almost perfect, and that was the key to success this time.
It looked like another key to success there was to build up a good gap before you caught the lap traffic, because there was a lot of lap traffic today, but by the time you caught it, you'd already had about a bit of a 5-second lead. Was that your thought at the start of a race that, hey, I need to build a big cushion before I catch these guys? Yeah,
definitely. That was my plan, and yeah, after the first lap, things were looking really good because Adam was in between me and Matt. But Matt got by really quickly, so I had to push a lot in the beginning. And when I had a little bit of a gap, lapping was much easier, not that stressful.
All right, well, next week we go to Watkins Glen. Are you planning to get your 3rd victory in 4 races there?
If possible, yes. I think I'll be there, so it will be another exciting race, hopefully. I'm looking forward to that.
All right, well, thanks for coming to talk to us, Gernot, and we look forward to seeing you back next week at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, see you guys next year. Happy New Year, everyone. Bye-bye.
All right, well, that was a driver who had a very calm and quiet race. Talking about calm and quiet races, Joe, I'm going to hand it over to you to talk to two drivers who wasn't so calm and quiet.
Yeah, down at the very end. Just a reminder, guys, we are live, so watch your language. But Barry, I'll start with you. First off, I want to say that it's been a while since I've covered these races, but I remember you being a little bit farther back in the past. I'm impressed with this top 10 finish. Where have you found this speed?
I don't know, just practice, and more practice, isn't it, Joe? But yeah, I had a fortunate break at the beginning. I don't know what happened, but there's a pile up at the beginning. I just seemed to gain a few places. And then I was behind Tanner for quite a while. And he was jumping in and out. And I'm sure I was quicker in the first half of the race, but I couldn't risk anything. And then Charles was behind for rather a long time. And it was a real battle. I knew he was faster than me because I just couldn't get the power down at the hairpin, which is crucial, isn't it? You know, and he kept gaining on me there, and I had to defend into Nick Brook every lap. And he was patient, and fair play to him. It was good, fair racing. And then we came across a back marker, and I thought he was staying on line, and he went to the inside just at the last minute, and I had to brake to stop rear-ending him. And of course, Charles went past, and it was a pity it ended like that. So I was feeling a bit miffed losing a place like that. And then on the last lap, I saw Tommy coming up quite quick behind, who was it behind me? Kendrick. And he was coming up quick. And then the next minute, I looked, he's 7.7 of a second behind me. And I thought, where's he come from? So last lap, it was just defend. And I just could not get that power down at the last that hairpin again. So when we came up to the last bend, I decided to take the inside line and make him work hard for it going on the outside. Obviously, I braked earlier than he did. When we come out of the bend on the exit, I didn't see him. I thought he'd backed out because it's quite well. If he'd have pulled it off, it would have been a good move around the outside. I didn't expect him to be there. But when I looked on the replay, I think I'm half a car length in front of him, and his front wheels touched my side pod. And fortunately, he didn't have any damage, and he finished where he did. But I couldn't. I mean, if that had been early on in the race, and I knew he was that quicker than me, I'd have probably let him go and follow him. But you can't. He can't. Surely, he couldn't expect me to concede the place on the last lap. And we had a little talk in chat, and I said, "There's no way I'm giving that place up." I didn't deliberately take him off the track, if that's what he thinks. But I think it was just a risky move and not one to try. If he'd have followed me for a few laps before that, he'd have realised that I was having trouble with grip on the slow corners.
Well, let's hear from Tommy. We've got him here with us, and Tommy. Before we get to that incident, let's talk about what led up to that. You jumped the start. What's going through your mind when that happens?
Actually, I forgot about that, and oh boy, it's so frustrating. It's only race I could make this week here, and I have been practicing pretty hard. And actually, my clutch pedal is broken. I have been biting it on my steering wheel. It keeps forgetting it for some reason, and now I had it, but I just messed it up. And yeah, I do. It's so frustrating. I actually was yelling straight out of my mouth so loud as I could. I didn't even realize I did it. Probably for a few seconds, and neighbors must be thinking, "What is going on?" But yeah, then I was just, it was all emotion and practice just got away, and I was driving kind of aggressively for the first lap, so I did my penalty right away. I'm actually not sure when you have to take it, but I did it then and calmed down a bit.
Now, Tommy, Barry said he was a bit surprised that you were still around the outside coming off of that final corner. Were you surprised as well? Because I think all of us couldn't believe that you made it stick.
Well, actually, I was not really so surprised. He braked much earlier than me, and I don't know how it went before that. I have been actually looking slow motions after Apex what happened, but yeah, I gave him all the space I could to make a clean one. as I actually told my friend, I tell everyone that you can race this area, absolutely everyone, and you can go side by side everywhere you think you could, and you can trust everyone. And I was thinking, doesn't he use spotter or what? It never was clear. It was side by side all the time, I think. But my spotter was always saying he was there. And then we got to Apex. It seems like he straightened his wheel. I didn't expect hit coming at all. I'm sure that everyone here rather slows down than drives into someone if they are having problems. Sorry, that was really bad wording. I don't mean it was intentional that he drove into me. But I can see that he straightened wheel much earlier than he could have, and if car was absolutely no steering, then you need to lift throttle or brake a little bit. As I was there, it was side-by-side contact, and I think as well I had every right to beat here.
Understandable. Well, one more question to both of you. We'll start with Barry on this one. I take it then it sounds like we don't have a Verstappen Ocon moment. Our hands being shaken all around?
Well, no, I respect Tommy. We've had good races in the past. Nothing against him. But on my replay, I don't know what it is like on his replay, but on my replay, I'm half a car length in front. And when we actually make contact, I didn't know him. My spotter never said anything at all. Like I say, he came up and that was the last lap. If he'd been following me for 2 or 3 laps, he'd have realised that he should have tried to cut back on that corner and not try to go around the outside. And to go around the outside of a car on the last lap of a race, after I've had a frustrating race, not quite as frustrating as Tom is, but he drove really well to come back to where he did from where he actually started the first lap. So, yeah, all play to him. But yeah, no, it wasn't intentional. He knows I'm not an intentional driver like that. But yeah, I just think it was a risky move, and I would have tried to cut back on that corner.
Tommy, handshakes or fisticuffs?
Well, I just have to say that in what he just said, that he could have avoided that. There was no risk at all. I gave him much more space than needed. I mean, it's last lap, so what? It race ends when you have flag on the line. Every corner is raceable, and I was racing fair and clean, and he straightened the wheel, and he said previously that he had problems in so low corners and so on, and I should do something else. But it was perfectly safe and normal move, and he didn't try to keep away from where there were possibly car. So, but yeah, I have always respected everyone in this series, and I don't want to have any hard feelings. I'm gonna do a couple more look to replay, but to be honest, I'm not very happy after this.
All right. Well, we'll let you guys go before this gets any more heated. That's Barry West and Tommy who finished in 9th and 10th, respectively. Sam, I think we got a little bit of a rivalry brewing.
Well, fortunately, it's the end of the year, right? They can make it their New Year's resolution there to shake hands. So, very interesting there. Barry West kind of saying I didn't expect him to be there, didn't think it was smart to be there. Tommy saying, well, I was there, so I was there. Well, very interesting debate between those two. And you know what? Racing wasn't made to be a friendly sport all of the time. But hopefully, you know, we see great shows from these guys week in and week out, and we will hopefully should see another one next week at Watkins Glen. Well, Joe, I wish you and Amjad and everyone a happy 2019. Certainly had some great shows here on GSRC this year.
Yeah, I had a great time this year. I was glad we ended on this broadcast because this was a stunner. Exciting times. I'm really looking forward to all the new features that iRacing has brought and will be bringing in 2019. I think we're in for an incredible year.
Alright, well, we would like to thank all of the organisers and the competitors from the Lotus 79 Classic Team Championship for choosing GSRC once again and putting on another great show. We would also like to thank all of the companies that provide the software and the hardware that we use during our broadcasts, and you can see those all listed now on your screen. Additional thanks goes out to Eric Ekholm and Juna Lont, who provide us with our great music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of their work. Thanks to the team today, Joe, Amjad and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, you can visit us at globalsimracingchannel.com. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel, and be sure to give us a like on Facebook and follow us on Instagram at GSRC_gram. All of the upcoming races for our other series are listed on your screen, so check those out, mark them down in your calendar, and don't miss another second of exciting racing action. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.